Welcome to the Gen Z Marketer podcast, where we have marketing conversations and everything in between. Here we talk about marketing, branding, e commerce, and the power of integrated marketing communication. I'm your host, Jamia Umali, a strategist passionate and specializing in branding and marketing for e commerce. In this episode, I will be sharing with you basic and essential principles to make sure your product listings convert customers. I've previously talked about e commerce in my previous episodes, so don't forget to check those out if you haven't already. Before I share with you the key principles in creating your listings, please support my show by following the podcast to get notified on the latest uploads. You can also leave me a message to share your thoughts, suggest new episodes, or collaborate at the Gen Z Marketer podcast on Facebook, at Gen Z MKT on Instagram, and at www.genzmkt.com, which are all linked on the description. Now, let's talk about why listings matter. First is because listings are your virtual sales pitch. Because you don't have a middleman or like a salesperson to represent yourself on e commerce, your listings is how you pitch to your customers. This is how they get an idea on what your product, brand, or service is all about. So, in a way, while they're reading your listing, you're already pitching to them. You are becoming the salesperson already. So you need to sell that pitch to them through your listing. Second, your listings help customers visualize better. As we said, because of e commerce, customers can't physically inspect the product or service that you're offering. So, with your listings, you are helping them visualize better or get an idea on what your product, service, or brand is all about. Third is listings can result to faster conversion. Now, what do I mean by this? If your listings are compelling, concise, and detailed enough, your customer would no longer need to message you or a customer representative for concerns because everything is provided in your listing. It's easier for them to make a decision because you've given them everything they need to do so. Last is your listings are your protection against customer complaints. Now, what do I mean by this? Let's say you're selling something and you did not put the product dimensions. So when your customer gets it, they complain because they did not expect it to be smaller or bigger than what they expected to be. But if you put all of these important details, like the dimensions, in your listing, and they would say that it doesn't meet their expectations, there's nothing really for them to complain about because you have specified the terms already on your listing. So, this is similar to how we have terms and conditions for websites that we sign up for. By specifically providing them with the text, with all of the details, they have nothing to chase you for because you've already given them everything they need. So, it's no longer your liability or your responsibility to meet those expectations because you gave it to them, you managed their expectations, and it's not your fault that they did not see it. Okay. So now let's go to these principles or the principles I mentioned that are important when it comes to creating your listings. So, first is let's look at copywriting. When it comes to writing your listings, I have two key principles that you should remember. First is fab. When writing your listings, make sure to write the features, advantages, and benefits of your product or fab. Features meaning dimensions, material, ingredients, anything important that is about the constitution of your product. What is it made of? How durable is it? What material or what processes do you have? What certifications do you have? You need to write these features down so that your customer can see or inspect the product, just like you see in packaging. This is what you do when it comes to your listings as well. Next, let's talk about advantages. It is important for you to mention the advantages because there's a lot of listings in the market. There's a lot of other products or services that offers the same thing as you do. So what advantage do they get if they use your product or if they use your service? You need to tell them that. And last are the benefits. So what? Why should they care about the advantages that you have, the features that you have? Why should they purchase or convert? Give them something that would make them see how your product or service will change their life. Because otherwise, they're just going to go to the next listing or to the next brand, to the next person. So make them visualize or make them see how your product will play into their lifestyle. Next is when it comes to your listings, the next principle is KISS, which is to keep it simple, sweetie. With listings, or even not just listings, but in general, most of our attention spans are already shorter than it is. Therefore, when it comes to your listings, you have to make sure that you are compelling and concise. You're able to write the fab in a way that is compelling and straight to the point at the same time. You don't have to use a lot of character to convert customers. If you're able to do it in a more concise and compelling way, then you're already winning in copywriting. Next, let's talk about the other important part of your listing other than copywriting, which are your photos and videos. So, how do you make sure that your photos and videos are up to par and convert your customers? First, you need to make sure that you are humanizing to visualize. Now, what do I mean? As we said, customers can't inspect your products physically. So, the best way to have compelling photos and videos is to humanize them, meaning adding models to your photos or videos. Why? Because it helps customers see how your product or service is used. What does it look like on people? How do they use it? How do they do it? How will they be able to use this once they have it? So for me, some listings don't have human elements, don't have models, which still work, but listings that have models work better because it's easier for customers to visualize how it would be like if they were using the products. In a way, it's like your commercial. When people see how the product and service is used, it's better for them to convert. It's easier for them to convert because they can picture themselves using that product and service. Next is make sure to use graphics, or when it comes to your graphics, you can almost make it look like an infographic or a publication material or a pub map. You know, if you want to add text talking about the fab, the features, advantages, and benefits in your product photo, that can also help. I have seen some listings do that wherein they have a very wonderful looking product shot while talking about the product ingredients or the fab. That's another way to make an effective listing. Why? Because if your customer doesn't want to read the copy or the text, they can see the fab or the features on your graphic already. So, in a way, you're providing them another option or another way for them to see what your product fab is. Next is something very important, but I think we already know this, is to make sure that the photo and video quality is up to par. Need to make sure that no matter screen or no matter what screen you look at it, your photo and videos look great because some shoppers shop on desktop, on tablet, and on mobile. So if you have to make sure that that experience, no matter which screen they look at it, is seamless. And last, this is something that's very important, especially if you're selling in Shopee, is to watermark or make sure your photo and video assets are branded. Now, why is this important for marketplaces like Shopee and Lazada? This is because people can now easily grab your photos and videos and claim it as their own, which is why I strongly suggest that you watermark or put your brand logo in your assets to protect your brand, and that just in case someone steals your assets, that your brand information is still there. So that sums up this week's episode. I hope these short and sweet principles can help you improve your listings. See you again next week. I update new episodes every Saturday at 4 p.m. Philippine time. And that's it for this Saturday.